to confirm that World War III is breaking out 7/17/17. Now, Dr. O'Ward just brought out a video about North Korea, and the Lord told him it was urgent. I know that that's going to happen tomorrow. The latest late today, most likely tomorrow, and at some time today, it's going to be tomorrow for them. War of North Korea and South Korea with the United States is the beginning of the Great Tribulation. That is going to unleash a massive attack on the U.S. and that is how we go up as bumps come down. And I wanted to start where the Lord, started revealing to me that the sole purpose of the second Passover, which is in the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 3 and verse 23, which in the past video I again said the book of Hezekiah. I don't know what's with the book of Hezekiah with me. It's the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 30 and verse 3. It says that there weren't enough priests sanctified for the first Passover. So the Lord postponed and had a second Passover for there to be enough priests sanctified. Remember that we are kings and priests for the Lord, chosen nation, and holy people for God. And since there weren't enough of us, and I have gotten confirmation that through my videos, these latest videos of the announcement of the 2011, of the 7/11, many people that were not ready to go, they actually got their batteries on and got down with the program and repented and cleansed. They have cleansed their mass spiritually, and they have updated their condition in God's presence, and now they are eligible to be taken in the rapture and found worthy. And the Lord showed to me that the only and sole purpose He created the second Passover was for the same verse, Hebrews 9:28, is there, that He will come a second time, not related to sin. The feast related to sin, which He was the bread without sin, is unleavened bread. And that is why He pointed to singular events in the scriptures related to the rapture. And this is Jesus speaking. Not only that He abundantly mentions that is in the summer, and the summer is nigh, and in the book of the Romans of the church with the Lord, which is the book of Psalms chapter 2 from the verse 10 to the 12th, mostly the 11th to the 12th, it says that the winter is past, signaling that it's not the winter, that the rains are gone, and that the flowers have appeared, pointing clearly that is a end of spring, beginning of summer event. Not only that He did that, but He mentioned clearly two solo events in the New Testament that He Himself said it will be as in those days. And He said in the days of Noah, which was in the second month, second Passover. And I thought it was initially, many years ago, that it was only that He meant, well, people would be drinking and marrying and giving themselves in marriage. It was more than that. It was the 7 days announcement, the 7 days warning, the 150 days, the 777. It was everything, the second Passover. And the other one He pointed was the days of Lot. The days of Lot from Pentecost, which is the Lord, the three men, the Lord Himself having lunch with Abraham and being served the typical food of Pentecost, of Shavuot, and going to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy after 150 symbology there, and then Lot baking a unleavened bread feast to the angels, meaning that he was to come from unleavened bread, coming on the reverse effect, on the image, same image prophetically as 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 12 and 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18. You want to probably check these scriptures in Young Literal's translation, and not in King James, because it says clearly that we look through the mirror, and now on through the mirror effects we get the same image of events, the same prophecies fulfilling once again. Now, He pointed. It was not me. It was the Lord. He only gave me the revelation of what it meant. A full wide angle revelation from one side to the other. He only comes to the clouds because he is watching himself to fulfill, not to fulfill the winter feast, which are Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Tabernacles. Those are remaining for his return after the Great Tribulation. Then he will fulfill those feasts. Now he created a second Passover, coming a second time, not related to sin. And in this second Passover, he pointed the two events in the Bible that refer to a massive destruction and a massive salvation, which is the Ark of Noah and the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the salvation of Lot and his daughters, and also how his wife looked back and became a salt statue, which is what's happened now with many people, that from the 11th they looked back. And now, it's not going to happen. It's not happening. It's a lie. This guy's a false prophet. And they look back and now they become a salt statue. And now they have no oil. They're not found worthy. They're left behind, sadly. Now, to understand this, it was the Lord that gave me the revelation of the second Passover. The second Passover was celebrated in 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 3. It gives you the total requirements. People were not sanctified, not enough priests and not sanctified. And in verse 23, it says it was celebrated for 14 days. 14 days. If you Google second Passover, it started on the 9th of May. From the 9th of May, 14 days celebration. It ends up on May 23rd. And from there, the Bible says that you have to, the first fruits, you have to look to the morrow after the first Sabbath. That was on a Tuesday. You go up to Saturday, and the first day after the Sabbath, the morrow after the Sabbath, is that Sunday, 28th. From there, you count 50 days. 50 days lands exactly as the dream I had last night. On the 50th day, it's happening. It lands on 7/17/17. And that is a conditional probability related to a marginal probability, because the 177 days, as I explained it the other days on the menorah, from Trump's inauguration, you have 177 days to the 16th of July. And then on the 17th, the first fruits are offered. And the 17th is 50 days from May 28th. You get a marginal probability related to a conditional probability, and you get different ones. I had so many different probabilities. I had the 150 days, the 7/11 revelation, the 117 days, which is backwards, the menorah, which is a 177, 1117. This from the 18th. To 11/11, counting the end days, is 117 days. 11/11, a full fulfillment of judgment. Now, people of God, so you can understand this, the numeric value of the menorah and the revelation of the menorah and the fulfillment of it is precisely for all these millenniums being held until the fulfillment of the rapture. The blessed hope that even the prophets longed for it but never achieved it. They knew that it was not for them. It was not meant for them, but it was meant for us. That's in the book of 2 Peter or 1 Peter. And we need to understand that this second Passover was made, and the Lord himself pointed to these two major events, and he said, and it was going to be like in the days of Noah. And then when he mentions the days of Lot, he said not the days. It was going to be like in that day, like in the day. He singled out the day, like in the day of Lot, in the day of Lot. And the amount of revelations, they have been so many by now that I am simply, I have so many confirmations that I'm overwhelmed. That's why I was so mad on the 11th, pretty much with everything that's happened, because you've confirmed to me, not only to post it, that this was you and that this was real, and it is. It's just, it was not the 11th, it was the 17th. Now it's only a day. There's no way you can put oil in your lamp, more likely. I know the Lord did this on purpose, but you need to understand that this is happening and this is taking place, and the Lord did all this, and now have full understanding of it, and the miracles of God are just beyond human understanding, the way that God plans things. And many that say, oh no, nothing will happen, again, don't set dates. It is the 17th of July, and this is it. And that's why the Lord told Dr. O'War that this war with North Korea attacking the US and South Korea was urgent, that he needed to put this urgent, because that is taking place now. Now that I have explained the second Passover, I want to go to the second step, which was the 777 and 150 days. I'm going to put in my box, information box, there in my video, all of the text and the biblical verses and the explanation of the 777 and the 150 days that follow before a great salvation and a great destruction. You need to understand something that the Lord pointed to me, that 7/17/17 is a perfect match. It's the only time in this year that the Gentile year unites in parallel with the Hebrew year. 5777 with 7/17/17. 777 in both. On the 17th of July is the only day that these two calendars meet in 777, in double 777, which is massively the sign of the great destruction, the anticipation of the great destruction and the great salvation, along with the 150 days that have already been fulfilled, and with the 40 days reign, which, remember, at the boarding time in Genesis 7:4, in this case was Genesis 7:11, the 40 days started, and it's kind of, this time around is 7 days ahead to fulfill prophecy, because in Genesis in chapter 8 it says that the ark rested on the 7th month on the 17th day. So now the ark is lifted up on the 7th month on the 17th day of the month, just where it rested that time. Now if you look at the at verse 16 of the book of Genesis chapter 7, which is 7:16, according to the menorah, 177 days lands on the 16th of July, 7:16, is when the Lord shut him in. That's when the Lord shut the door, meaning today 16th, the door is shut. There is no more crying. You had your chance. And this is it's amazing how the spiritual things then manifest in the physical realm. First spiritually and then physically. And I wanted to leave this on my description box, the different verses and the whole study of the 11 times I found the 777 and the 150 days that precedes a great salvation and a great destruction, because it's fundamental for the people that are left behind, that they know that there is no UFOs, no aliens. I had a dream, I believe it was the 12th or the 13th, I don't remember, of the rapture, when the sky was full with UFOs, flying saucers, and they were attacking people. They are going to simulate and pretend that they abducted millions of people, but it's a lie. They didn't abduct anybody. The Lord Jesus Christ came for his church, and he has taken his church. Do not take the mark. It is a lie. Hell is going to be forever. Whatever they can do now doesn't remotely matches the pain and the suffering you will endure for all ages and all eternity in hell. You need to repent.